You know, I really love HAZBIN Hotel. Believe it or not, I've been looking for a show set in hell for a while, don't ask why. And before HAZBIN, the closest thing I could find is a manga called Love in Hell. And let's just say it's not the finest piece of literature out there. But then, I saw this indie pilot on YouTube called HAZBIN Hotel, and I immediately fell in love. It's a show that looked like it was made specifically for me. I loved the world, the characters, the art style, the animation, the songs. I was obsessed. All of this to say that even though that show has a lot, and I mean a lot of flaws, it's still very close to my heart. But there are flaws and it isn't just a few. I'm not gonna get into the plot of the show right now, but most critics of the character designs talk about the lack of variation within the color palettes and body types. Basically, there's too much red and the characters are all too lanky. Then there's the fact that there's just way too much going on within their designs, which to be honest I kinda liked. Then there's the fact that their animal features are barely noticeable, and the fact that the characters' backgrounds aren't really shown within their design. When people criticize this stuff, I just didn't care much about it. I liked the designs, but after seeing some redesigns people made, it inspired me to make my own. So let's get into it. Starting with the Princess of Hell herself, Charlie. I gathered several references from several artists for reference, and I'm gonna put their link in the description. I wanted her to look more like a princess, so I used oldish-like dresses as inspiration, but I didn't have a specific date in mind. I'm not an historian. I also wanted to emphasize her goat and demon elements, so I made her have goat legs and horns, and demon wings and a tail. My first try didn't turn out too well. It ended up being too confusing and it just wasn't the vibe I was looking for. Then I tried again with a different pose and more cutesy proportions, which worked way better. I decided to clean up the details a bit. I gave her shorter horns, for example, and tried to simplify some parts. One thing I didn't like in the show's design of Charlie is that they made her too lanky. She was already lanky in the pilot, but at least she had hips. TV shows Charlie doesn't have hips. So I gave her hips and mostly round features to show off the cuteness. I probably made her look too cute though, cause she looks way too young, especially compared to the rest of the cast. But oh well, too late to change that now. Also, I'm not a fan of how they changed their hair to like 3 buns or whatever that was. I really liked the pilot's design way more, so I used the colors of the pilot sort of in the dress. By the end I felt like something was missing, so I added some pentagrams on her dress to match her earring. Next I did Vaggie. Just like Charlie, I gathered a bunch of references of other artists and some mods. I wanted to make her look thicker, since in the original show she's already thicker than Charlie, but I also wanted to make her look fit since she's a soldier. One of the problems with her original design is that it says basically nothing about who she is. She's a fallen angel, a soldier, and apparently a moth. So I tried to give her those features. In my version of Vaggie, this outfit is an adaptation of her outfit after she started living in hell. So she probably wouldn't dress like this when she was killing sinners, but it would be fun to draw that version eventually. I tried to give her mod characteristics in her ears, in her tattoo, and made her have some fur. I mean, she still doesn't look like a mod, but her wings were cut, so this is the best I can do. I also added a pentagram in her shirt, cause you know, she's a hell whatever now. And also I guess to support Charlie or something, I don't know. I just felt like putting it in. Next up, I did my favorite HAZBIN character, Angel Dust. Here are the references I used. For his design, I decided to give more emphasis on his mobster and spider features, since I couldn't tell it was any of those things from the original design. Also, this one took way longer, and I don't think it would be suitable for animation since there's so much detail. But screw it, this isn't gonna be animated, it's just for fun. I wanted to give him several eyes since he's a spider, but that was particularly hard to figure out since I didn't exactly know where to put them. But I think it ended up good enough, I guess. And of course I gave him several fun elements like forearms, the spider-like sexy legs, the mobster hat, the vest with the fur, and one of those expensive cigars that mobsters smoke. I'm not sure if he's an actual mobster in hell or if he just left that life, but in my version he's still a mobster, screw it. And for the color palette I decided to go with a bunch of pinks. I think his color palette maybe ended up too much like Charlie's, but I also think it's distinguishable enough. And finally I drew Alastor. Here are the references I used. Alastor was surprisingly hard to do. I struggled to draw his face in the beginning. I couldn't quite figure out his smile. I had to copy a few references to have a feel of what is Alastor's smile. And then I was ready to try it out again. Honestly, I was never much of a fan of Alastor's design. He always seemed to me just like a generic demon, especially compared to the other characters that I thought were much more unique. For his design, I decided to emphasize his deer elements and changed his hair and outfit a bit to match the 30s vibe. I took a few liberties cause most outfits I found from the 30s were kinda boring, so I gave it a bit of a twist. Also, in his original outfit, he has a tie and a bow tie for some reason, so I took the bow tie out. Honestly, I wasn't sure how to make him look more like a radio host, but I figured out that microphones from the 30s look like this, so I took this idea and made a pentagram cause I just like pentagrams and it fits with the theme. For the colors, I made his skin a dark grayish brown for several reasons. First, to make him more deer-like, to make his eyes and smile stand out more, and third, because according to the wiki, his ethnicity is mixed race Creole. I would literally never guess that in a million years by his original design. I also made his hair curlier because of that, sort of a mix between haircuts of that time and Creole hair. I made his coat and eyes the only red things and left the rest black to make him look more like a shadowy figure and to make the red stand out. The final designs also ended up too red, I guess, but that was never much of a problem I had with the show, to be honest. After all, it's hell, but I still think I gave it enough variation to be somewhat of an improvement. Maybe. But yeah, if this video does well, I might do a part 2. I'll probably do a part 2 either way, to be honest. But you know, subscribe if you're interested, give it a like, comment what you think and all that stuff. Okay, bye!